Debbie, it's okay?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay. Good
Start.
morning to everyone. Welcome to the FIBA Africa conference dedicated to future women coach exclusively. So if there are some men coach, no problem, but it's dedicated to future women coach. So the speaker for today is Naufal, Coach Naufal Wariashi. Is FIBA instructor since 20 since 10 years, and you have already seen him in the bench of Morocco national men team. If you watch the AfroBaskets, the last window of AfroBasket qualifiers. So, Coach Naufal, thank you for your support in our activity, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mikey, and it's a pleasure. It's again a pleasure, an absolute pleasure to be with my colleagues from Africa and especially our female colleagues that I know in FIBA Africa we are hoping and we are trying to boost because the women coach is an important aspect of the game of the basketball, and especially in Africa where we have so many resources. I am going to make sure that while we are waiting for people to enter the the meeting, I want to make sure that everyone here understands the goal of this webinar, of this conference. The goal is for us instructors to share information with you, but it's also important for all of you to be able to ask questions. Um, Obviously, we all know quite a bit of information about coaching basketball and so forth, but we are here to learn from one another. We can exchange ideas. We may have different views and opinions, but it's always healthy to have a a conversation and to discuss different points of view. I am going to speak in this speed. I will try to speak in this speed of English. If I am going too fast, please write it down on the chat box. Or if I am too slow, also do let me know. And I just hope that everyone gets to understand um, and is ready to um, participate because I would like this conference to be an interactive one. I would like it to be an opportunity for many of us to ask questions and do a little bit of work. I am going to go ahead and share my screen with everyone here and making sure that everyone knows what we will be talking about today. So the topic for today is the coaching style and philosophy. And I'll come back to it just in a little bit. But before we continue, I'm going to ask and encourage everyone here to take a minute to get a pen and paper or have a computer so they can type questions and write notes and so forth, because I am going to ask you throughout this conference to take some notes or write down some questions. So please take a little bit of a few seconds to find a pen and a piece of paper. Okay, are you almost there? Great. So let's get started. Um, a basketball coach has got different aspects that he or she um, needs to constantly improve on or do some research and stay up to date and so forth. We have the technical aspect of coaching, whether is how to teach dribbling or passing, which is individual work. We have the technical aspect, where they're to teach how to play, how to run a fast break, for example, or how to play press defense, etc. And then we have a personal aspect of the actual coach, which may involve things like leadership, communication, know-how, planning, organization, etc. One of these aspects is the coaching style and philosophy that are extremely important for every coach to establish as early as they can. So every coach must find a way to establish, discover their style of coaching, and also establish their philosophy. And this is what we are going to talk about today. This might be a topic that is not necessarily many of us, especially those of us who are young coaches, have not had an opportunity to think about, but eventually, I hope that by the end of this conference today, we will have a better grasp at what is the coaching style and what is the coaching philosophy. So, without further ado, let's get started. Let's think a little bit. I would like everyone here to think a little bit of a coach. Take a few seconds. Any coach that you may have had, I want you to describe her or him in a couple of words. Just keep them. Take notes. Describe that coach in a couple of words. One word or more. It could be any coach. It could be tough. It could be nice. Made me feel comfortable. She was a mother to me. She was a big sister. She cared about my well-being. She was a little bit too harsh. She really helped me improve. Let's go to the next question now. I want you to think of a coach that you admire. So the first question was think of any coach. The second one is think of a coach that you really, really admire. And again, describe her in a couple of words. Okay. I do hope that you thought of the same coach in for the first question and the second question. If you did not think of the same coach, you may have had your reasons and why you did not think of the same coach that we will be discovering just now. Now we are going to think of when you loved going to practice. Why? Write down some notes. Why did you love going to practice? Is it because your friends were there? Is it because you were being challenged? Why did you love going to practice? Now let's think of when you did not like going to practice. Why? Why did you not like going to practice? Please write it down, because I would like you to compare some notes. My question to everyone here, what is something that is common between question 3 and question 4? What is it? What could it be that was answered in question 3 and was also answered in question 4? Could it be that it was fun. I loved going to practice because I had fun. Or I did not look like going to practice because I no longer had fun. You know, most of us basketball coaches, or the majority of basketball coaches, we are not professional basketball coaches. There's only a few, a small percentage that eventually becomes a professional basketball coach, while everyone else, or the majority, are doing this because they enjoy the game and they have players that are coming in order to have fun. Let's not forget that as basketball coaches. We have the responsibility to make sure that we organize activities that are fun for our players, especially in the formative years, especially when we are dealing with young players. It's important that we include lots of fun activities with the younger ones. So when it comes to your coaching style and philosophy, it should be formed, it should be shaped about how much fun your players are having. So when you're thinking about your style of coaching and your philosophy, you need to make sure that fun is included when you're thinking of your players, especially the young ones. I would like you to think a little bit about this. Your coaching style and philosophy, it should be shaped around how much fun your young players are having. Let's go back to that coach that you admired. You remember that coach that you admired? Let's go back to them. What was important to them? What was important to her? Was it that you came on time? Was it that you worked hard on the basketball court? Was it that you scored a lot of points? Was it that you caught lots of rebounds? Was it that you were responsible? Was it that you were committed to the team? What was important to that coach that you really admired? Was it because she cared about you as a person, not only as a basketball player? What was it? So let's start shaping our coaching philosophy. Let's start understanding what a coaching philosophy is. What is your coaching philosophy? Some of you right now, you may not have a philosophy yet because either you are young or maybe you haven't had a chance to think properly about your coaching philosophy. What is important to you as a person? What is important to you? What is it? Is it important that you treat everyone in a fair way, in a respectful manner? Is it important to you to be on time? Is it important to you to put in all your effort? As a coach, is it important to you to play really tough man-to-man defense? As a coach, is it important to you to run fast breaks? What is important to you? What will you emphasize during your practices? What you will be insistent upon? What will you be repeating? So it's a what question. What? What will you be emphasizing? What is important to you? When we're thinking about our philosophy, we are normally talking about two different things. There are some lessons that are purely basketball lessons that we teach, and we have other life lessons that we teach as well through coaching basketball. I hope that many of you, and hopefully most of you, have played basketball. And if you think of that coach that you admire, you will probably remember a lot more of the life lessons they taught you. Let's talk about the basketball lessons, for example. Those are lessons that are technical or technical, right? Purely basketball. For example, rebounding, how to rebound, how to box out so you can rebound, how to run the fast break, that first pass, be aggressive on the finish, how to deny the pass. When you play defense, you want to deny the pass. These are pure basketball lessons. So your philosophy might be deny the ball, deny the ball, deny the ball. So you will be repeating, you will be emphasizing deny the pass, deny the pass, deny the pass. So when I come to play for your team, I know that deny the pass is important to you. Let's talk about life lessons. These are the intangibles. Intangibles are usually things that we can't touch. Something like the attitude, something like the effort, confidence, commitment, being on time could be a life lesson. So let's say that being on time is important to you as a coach. That could be part of your philosophy, that we have to be on time. Not only the players, not only the coaching staff, but also for many of our different activities. So this is a life lesson. So when little Maria is playing for you, and she is 12 years old, and you're teaching her the importance of being on time, Maria might become a basketball player or a professional basketball player. But most probably, reality is, Maria will not become a basketball player because not many of them make it to the professional world. But then you will teach her a life lesson that being on time is important. So when Maria goes to look for a job or is studying to become an engineer or a doctor, she'll realize that being on time is important, and she will probably think of you. Oh, I remember Coach so-and-so. She was very, being on time was very important to her. So these are some life lessons that you can teach. So when it comes to philosophy, it could be basketball, purely basketball related, or life lesson related. So as a coach, you're always thinking, excuse me. As a coach, you're thinking about your philosophy. And this is an exercise that I would recommend for all of you to do. Start thinking about what is important to you. Think about it and write it down at some point. So some of the questions you may have is, what is your selection of a team? Is it merit-based or is it talent-based? That means when you select a team to play a game, or you select a team to play a tournament, you select players based on, do they deserve to be chosen? Or is it purely on talent? Oh, no, she's a good player. I'm going to select her, and that's it. No matter whether she comes on time or not, no matter whether she's respectful or not, etc. You need to be able to answer this question as a coach. Do you adapt to your players' qualities, or do they have to adapt to your philosophy? So as a coach, do you prepare yourself and your season based on the players' qualities, Or do you say, no, I don't care. They need to adapt to my way. They need to adapt to my philosophy. Do you have clear rules and goals? Do you set clear goals? Do you establish clear rules? Do the players understand your rules and the goals of the team? Do you establish goals for the players? Do you play with your players? Do you have fun with your players? When you're coaching, are you involved? Do the players feel that you care about their learning, that you are playing with them? Are your activities fun-based? Huh? When you prepare activities, do you just say, okay, everyone stop, we're gonna run back and forth, we're gonna dribble, no talking, no fun, etc.? Or do you create activities that might be fun? You're still teaching basketball, but there's a little bit of fun, some games-based activities. For example, I can be teaching dribbling. Most of us know the game where you're chasing someone, try to tag them with a ball or tag them with your hand while you're dribbling the ball. That's a game, right? It's a fun-based activity. Do you use these fun-based activities in your practices? Do you value discipline? Is discipline an important thing for you? Are you flexible? Meaning, are you ready to listen to others? Are you ready to maybe change your mind or adapt yourself or your philosophy to a particular situation? Or are you completely just straight, this is what I want and nothing else? And this is what I say, I'm not listening to anyone. Are your expectations clear? Is it clear? If I play for you, do I know what I need to do in order for me to get some playing time? Is it clear to me? Are you someone that just focuses on the fundamentals? Proper dribbling, both hands, layups, passing, several types of passes. Are you a good communicator? Is communication important to you? How do you communicate? Is communication really important to you? Would it be part of your philosophy? What do you praise most of the time? Do you praise a pass or a basket? So when Maria passes the ball to Fatima and Fatima scores, do you say, good job, Fatima, for scoring? Or do you say, great job, Maria, for passing the ball? Do you have inclusive coaching or exclusive? That means, do you only concentrate on the very good players and no one else? Or do you include everyone? Do you care about all players, knowing that not all players might be at the same level? Do you care about the players beyond the courts? Outside of basketball, do you care about the players? Do you listen to them? Do you show interest in their other activities? Do you care if they have a sick mother or sick father? Do you care if they have good grades, good marks in their exams? Many of these things are non-basketball skills that we are teaching. It could be part of your philosophy that you are teaching non-basketball skills. We talked earlier about the intangibles. Are you someone that teaches responsibility? At the end of practice, do players have different jobs? Are they responsible for a particular aspect of the team? Do you teach self-control? When in playing basketball is an emotional game, and sometimes players might lose control. Do you teach them how to control themselves? Do you teach them how to compete? And competition is not only about winning, it's also knowing how to lose or not win. Teaching competition is also understanding that in basketball, there might be only one winner and others might be second or third in a particular tournament. Do you teach how to compete? Do you teach resilience, toughness, mental toughness? These are non-basketball skills that as a coach, we are expected to teach. Do you teach confidence? Good job, Maria. Keep it up. Keep trying. But I did not make it, coach. I took 20 shots, I only made 4. That's fine. As far as you're doing the right move, are you shooting the ball properly? Just keep it up. Give them confidence. Look at the positive side of things. Do you teach the players how to follow rules? That is important, to follow rules and how to respect the rules. Do you teach respect? Respect towards other players, respect towards property. You know, one of the common mistakes that many basketball teams commit at time is, for example, kicking a basketball with their feet. Do you allow that? You know, if it's an exceptional circumstance, maybe it's not the end of the world. But if everyone is kicking a basketball, are you respecting that equipment? Because someone paid for that basketball, and therefore maybe you're not respecting that. Do you value teamwork? Do you teach players how to value teamwork? Being part of a team is a commitment. You don't just show up whenever you want and not show up whenever you want. No, it's a commitment. We have practices 3 times a week. Do you teach them the importance of coming to those practices? Do you teach self-esteem? To feel good about themselves, to value oneself. Do you teach that player to say, I am good? Do you teach perseverance? Keep trying. Keep working hard. Do you teach work ethic? As a basketball coach, are you a role model? As a basketball coach, are you a role model? Do you do these things? Because as a basketball coach, you are being watched all the time. So we are going to take about a minute to understand this coaching philosophy. It's all about what is important to you. It's a what question. So philosophy is a what question. What is important to you? Take a minute or two to write down some questions that you may have about whatever we have just discussed just now, please. I'll give you 1 minute. I'll give you another 30 seconds. Okay, we'll start wrapping. Great. I hope you wrote down some questions that you may will hopefully have a chance to ask at the end of this conference. Let's move on to answering this question. So we have established what is important to you. You wrote down a few things and you've established that this is important to me. And it should not be a list that has 20 different aspects. It can have just maybe 2 to 3 aspects, 4, but not too many. Now, how are you going to achieve what is important to you? How? It's a how question. And that is your style. That is your coaching style, the how part. How are you going to achieve it? Okay, so the philosophy is what is important to me? What am I going to emphasize? The style, the coaching style is how am I going to achieve it? Let's talk about the coaching style. Most coaches, they have a coaching style that is based on an intrinsic aspect, which is basically talking about your own personality, you as a person. And most coaches don't know what their style is until some years of experience, and they discover, because it's a discovery process. They discover what their style is. Most coaches also, we all have had some coach, as we talked earlier, that we admire, and this is an extrinsic part of determining which coaching style I have, because I am influenced, or I was influenced by another coach. So influenced by other coaches. So your coaching style comes from 2 different parts. An intrinsic part, which is your own personality, your type of person you are. I am a very outgoing, extrovert type of person. I'm not an introvert. But you have other coaches that are introvert that will be talking in a very calm way. So that's a different personality. These are different personalities. It doesn't mean that this one is better than the other. It's just different personalities. So you dig in your intrinsic part. And then you have seen some coaches in action, and they have influenced you. You liked the way they did things. You liked how they made you feel. You liked how they achieved certain goals. Now, when it comes to coaching style, here is the danger. There's a dangerous part when you're determining your coaching style. The biggest mistake, the absolute biggest mistake that you will make is trying to have a style like someone else who's not you. When it comes to coaching style, you have to be yourself. You can't be someone else. You cannot. I can't, for example, some of you might see me working, etc. You cannot say, I want to be like Coach Wariashi if you don't have similar personalities. So it's important for all of us coaches to be ourselves. We have several styles that each coach is more or less one or a combination of the upcoming styles that we will be discussing just now. We have a coach who's authoritarian. They like discipline, they value effort, and no one else has an input. It's just my way, and that's it. You may have seen the authoritarian coach in movies. Many coaches in Africa are authoritarian coaches, etc. That's one way. It's one particular style that has its pros, that has its advantages, and it has, of course, its disadvantages that we'll be discussing just now. So authoritarian is one way, one style. Another style would be business-like. Just business. It's all about business. And it's usually this coach is a logical, has a logical approach, plans well, is usually up to date, knows what's happening, may listen to other players, giving input, but the final decision is hers. We may have the cool coach, nice person type of coach, and that's a very personable type of coach who is usually well liked, gets the players involved. What do you think of this? Should we do this? You know, really cool approach. We have a very intense coach, really intense. I want to win. Winning is so important. This is my goal. I want to do this. Very, very intense coach. Some of you may have had an intense coach. And you have the easygoing coach. She is really relaxed. You come on time, fine. You don't come on time, it's okay. And this coach is very casual. And they might seem that they are not too serious. They really are very easygoing. So each one of you is one of these styles or a combination of these styles. Can you take about 30 seconds or a minute and reflect on your style? What is your style? Are you an authoritarian coach? Are you a business-like coach? Are you the cool one? Are you the intense one? Or are you the easygoing coach? Which one are you? Or are you a combination of these styles? Can you write it down, please? Okay. Authoritarian, business-like, cool, intense, easygoing. Let's discuss the authoritarian coach. We said it's someone that likes discipline, effort, and no input. The pros, the advantages of an authoritarian coach is someone who's well organized. They usually are really doing their job. They're ready. When we win, the authoritarian coach creates a great spirit. And there's a fairly good understanding of what's important. What is the big picture? What's important in the good big picture? The disadvantages of an authoritarian coach is when we lose, when losing happens, there's contention. There's not a good feeling. Maybe there's disagreement. The authoritarian coach players might be scared of the authoritarian coach. They might not like the authoritarian coach. In fact, with young players in the formative years, authoritarian coaches are are really, really disliked, or because the young players, they're scared of that coach that yells at them and really is very strict. And when you are an authoritarian coach, you have disempowered players. You have players that don't have power. They feel powerless. They don't feel important. Let's move to the next style, which was the businesslike. We said it's a logical coach that plans well, keeps up to date, listens, but makes the final decision. The pros: clear performance indicators, knows exactly where everyone needs to be, and knows how to measure the team's performance or the player's performance. Evaluates the team effort, the player's effort or performance, has an appropriate way to evaluate, really businesslike, and gets the players involved. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? The decision will still be up to that coach, but listens to these players. The disadvantages: some goals, this business-like coach might set goals that are too high for some players. They can't be achieved. Remember, when you have a group of players, you have many different levels. So the business-like coach might have some goals that are way too high for some players. She may be or feel not that she's not friendly or distant. Leave me alone. I'm doing my business. I don't have time for something else. That means I'm not friendly, or I can give you the impression that I'm distant. Let's move to the cool coach. Cool coach gets well with players, especially with players that are just there for the fun of it, not necessarily really that try to get better, etc. The players, they buy into what the team is doing. They buy into the team goals because they like the coach. Some cons are usually the cool coaches are taking advantage of. We've all had that cool coach, and then we said, you know what, I'm not showing up to practice today. Nothing's going to happen to me. Or I can, do something mischievous somehow. And, that coach, she's nice. She's so cool. It's not a problem with her. And the cool coach usually has difficulty in making decisions because they get players involved. What do you think? What do you think we should do? What do you think we should do? And being cool at times cannot be the right way when you're dealing with making decisions, because someone needs to make a decision. And usually it's the adult one that needs to make a decision. Let's go to the intense coach. Winning is important. Out of my way. I'm focused on my goal. They usually have a focused game plan, a proper game plan. They set high expectations. This is what I want my team to do, yes, because we want to win. The cons: the intense coach can be so intense that it can be transmitted to the players, and it makes, she can make the players nervous because she wants to win. She wants to get to her goal. And usually the intense coach loses sight of the big picture, of the philosophy things that we talked about. What is important? What is it? Why am I coaching? What is important? And when I am so intense, I lose sight of the big picture. Let's go to the last one, the easygoing one, very casual, the pros. She's very well liked. Lots of people like her because she's cool, she's easygoing, no problems. The easygoing coach says, Maria, you take care of practice today, or Fatima, you can do this. Maybe if Fatima and Maria know what they're doing, that's a good idea to empower players. Disadvantages. The easygoing coach might not prepare well for games, for practices, because they're just too easygoing. They may have a team that has difficulties dealing with adversity. Huh? When in intense games, or when it comes to situations of self-control, the easygoing coach might not have prepared the team to deal well. So, what is your real coaching style? You had said earlier, you probably wrote down what you might be. But after seeing these descriptions, what is really your coaching style? Do you still think you're an authoritarian coach? Do you? Or are you a business-like coach? How about an intense coach? Do you think you are an intense coach? Do you think you are an easygoing coach? Do you think you are a cool coach? Which one? What do you think? Take a few minutes. Again, think about whatever you wrote earlier. Did you write that you were an intense coach? Did you write that you were a business-like coach? And what do you think now? Can you confirm that? Please take a minute also to write some questions that you may have. Just be ready. I might ask you about your coaching style, or I might ask you about some of your philosophies. I'll give you another 30 seconds. Do you have any questions about the coaching style or one of the styles? Okay. Very good. So let's summarize. Let's go with summary. Your coaching style it's a how question. How do you get to what is important to you? Because what is important to you is your philosophy. So to me, for example, being on time is very important to me. Respect is very important to me. And having fun is important to me. And passing is important to me. So in my practices, I will use my style, my coaching style, to insist on the importance of passing, to insist on the importance of coming on time and being on time. Because that the mother that is coming to pick up her son or her daughter after practice, she knows that I, as a coach, value being on time, and she knows that I'm going to finish on time practices. I use my style to teach respect. If I'm an easygoing coach, I might say, hey, Fatima, do you feel that was appropriate, the way you talked to Maria? Or if I was an authoritarian coach, I'll say, Fatima, come here. That really was not right of the way you talked to Maria. So you use your style to achieve what matters to you, what your philosophy is. Be yourself. Never, never someone else. Don't try to be someone else. Be yourself. It's your personality that determines your style. It's whatever you believe in. And make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes, but just make sure they are your mistakes, your own mistakes, not someone else's mistakes. Be prepared to adapt, to change your philosophy and style, depending on the environment, depending on the culture that you're in. It's okay to change it. In fact, you will realize that as coaches grow more experienced, they change or adapt their philosophy. Or as coaches grow, go from one program to another, because of course, it's not the same coaching 8-year-olds or coaching 16-year-olds or coaching the pros. So your style and philosophy might need to be adapted or changed. This is important because players, when they know what the coach's style is, when it's clear to them what the philosophy is, they feel comfortable. It's like a guide for them. They feel in an easy environment, in a safe environment, because it's very clear. Let's say, for example, defense was so important to you. So you are going to be telling throughout practices, play defense, play defense, play defense. These are the players that I'm going to choose for the game. Only those who play defense. That means you communicate that. If respect was important to you, I'm only choosing players who are respectful. I'm not choosing someone who is not respectful. So these are clear expectations that the players feel comfortable with. And if a player chooses not to be respectful, then they know already that that's not going right with that particular coach. And don't forget, the last part is just don't forget to have fun. You have to have fun as a coach. Because we are in the world of education, we are in the world of sports, we are the world of youth. We need to have fun as well as coaches. I hope this was clear to everyone, and I hope that I did not go too fast. Do you have any questions for me? I'll give you a minute or two to jot down some questions. And maybe I'll start asking some questions just now. Thank you.
Coach Naufal, thank you very much for this presentation. Just one word for the participants. You can ask your question on the chat or just raise your hand, and Coach Naufal will give you the right to talk. And I think it's better to ask question directly with your microphone. So as you want. Once again, thank you a lot, Naufal. Coach, you are on mute. We cannot hear you.
Sorry, I apologize. So before I give a chance for people to ask questions, I am going to ask, let's say, Esperance Mukanenza. Are you there? Esperance? You can raise your hand. Esperance, are you there? Hi, Esperance. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear.
Esperance, what is your coaching style? What do you think your coaching style is? Esperance, are you there?
Yes, my coach style is to familiarize with my prayers.
Your coaching style is, I'm sorry?
To familiarize with my prayers, to be friends.
To be friends with your players. Very good.
Yes.
And
Yes.
was this practice, did it always help you to achieve your goals with your players, Esperance?
Yes, yes.
And did you find some difficulties sometimes that maybe you thought you were too friendly?
The difficult. Yes, because some players they have the mind difficult, but we try to manage.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you very much, Esperance. I
You're
am
welcome.
my pleasure. I'm going to ask Laureen Madhawar. Laureen, are you there? Laureen Madhawar. While we wait for Laureen, can we, Mikey, can we give, oh, Laureen is there.
Yes, coach, she's there. Laureen, you can just...
Hello.
Hi, Laureen. Laureen, are you there?
I think she
Yeah,
has an issue with the
the
connection.
connection is there.
Coach.
Hi.
How are you, coach?
I'm doing very well. Great to have you, Laureen. My question to you.
Hello, coach. I'm
Hi.
there. Yes, I'm there, coach.
Okay. My question to
Hello,
you
coach.
is,
There. Hi.
what is
Thank
important?
you, sir.
Yes. What is important to
Yes.
you, Laureen? Laureen? Oh,
What is
okay.
important to me is to familiarize with my team and also to have, hello, say, I'm hearing you.
Yes,
To
I can hear
play,
you.
to get to know my players very well.
Very good. I like your approach, Laureen, because when you familiarize
Yes, sir.
yourself with players, you are establishing a channel of communication. That means that communication becomes a lot easier when you are
Yes.
familiarizing yourself with the players. Perfect. Thank you very much, Laureen. Let's move on to any questions that you may have. Do you have any questions, anyone?
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. Anyone with any questions? You
I
can,
think, coach,
yeah,
I think
go ahead.
we have Fatuma that she wants to ask a question.
Please do, yeah. Yeah, give her, you can give her, unmute her. Hi, Fatuma.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi.
Thank you for the presentation. So
My
my
pleasure.
question is, what you think is the best style, the best coaching style? Personally,
That's a very good question. The best coaching style is the coaching style that matches your personality. That's the best coaching style. There is no better one. There are some coaching styles that are more appropriate with some categories of players, but the best coaching style is the one that you feel comfortable with, the one you feel at ease with.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure, Fatuma. Hi, Veronica. You can unmute yourself, Veronica. Is Veronica there?
Veronica, you just have to unmute yourself and it's okay normally.
Okay. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you, Veronica.
Thank you, sir. I want to know how to build confidence in your players.
That's a very good, very, very good question, Veronica. Well, building confidence is part of the coach's job, is one of the most important aspects of the coach. Number one thing that I think was mentioned several times just now, which is getting to know my players. When you get to know your players, you are establishing easy ways to communicate with these players. And when I say get to know your players, especially, we're talking about the formative years. That said, they are still young players, 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds. When you get to know them a little more, you are establishing communication, and therefore they start listening to you. So when you start talking to that particular player and you are using mostly and most of the time positive expressions for them to improve, you are working on their self-confidence. When you make it about the process and not about the outcome, then you are building confidence. For example, you have little Fatima dribbling the ball, she's gonna shoot. And Fatima shoots and she does not make the shot. She does not score. You probably want to choose a way to say to Fatima, hey, Fatima, that was a great shooting mechanic. Oh, but coach, I did not score. But Fatima, we're working on your shooting mechanic at this moment. Eventually, you'll be able to score. So you are shifting the energy from scoring to actually the way, the shooting mechanic, the shooting method. So you are building confidence by constantly mentioning positive things and things that the players are doing well, and you are therefore concentrating on keeping a positive language towards that particular player. Thank you, Veronica. While we are waiting, I will answer a question from Olive Umuoza, who says, hello, coach. According to you, which percentage should we give the personality and the influence from other coaches in shaping our coaching style? So the personality is what determines who you are, because your personality does not change easily. So what happens is that when you're watching other coaches, especially those who might be like you, then you may be able to follow their style because they may have similar personality. But when you are shaping your your style, it's also important to do a trial and error. Sometimes you may try something because you are discovering yourself. So you may try to imitate a particular coach that you like or that you admire. And if it works and it matches your personality, great, fantastic. And if it doesn't, then you need to change it and and find something else. So I'm sorry, I don't have a particular percentage for you, but all I can tell you is establish your personality, understand who you are, and then try certain styles and see if it matches your personality. I hope that was clear, Olive. I have another question from Grace. Which advice will you give a coach who has two different coaching styles? I don't have an advice. Continue with that. And if you have two different coaching styles, that's good for you. That means you can adapt to the environment. Sometimes you may have a group of young players and you realize that the authoritarian style is not going to work with them. But then sometimes you have a group of mature players that are a little bit undisciplined, and maybe you want to bring in your authoritarian style and say, guys, this is the way we do it right now until I get confidence, etc. So yeah, keep working with those different styles, and just make sure that you understand the environment that you are in. I hope that answered your question, Grace. I believe, do we have anyone raising their hand? Do we have any questions? All right. Very good. Good job. So I don't think there are more questions. Oh, I have a question here from Hajar. Hajar, please go ahead and yes. Hi, Hajar. Hajar, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
I wrote my question down, but maybe you didn't see it.
I did not see it. I'm sorry. Can you say?
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead,
I was just
Hajar.
saying that sometimes, like, you know what's important to you, but it's a bit hard to transmit it to all your players, especially when you have a large number. And sometimes I get stuck with like going. I find myself going on one-on-one coaching, and I maybe lose track of the whole team for that moment.
Yeah, well, an excellent question, Hajar. Well, an excellent question. We all had the same situation somehow. So, number one, whatever you have, whatever is important to you, at times it's very helpful to write it down. Just write down what's important to you. And remind yourself before each practice or each game of those particular points, that particular philosophy of yours. Then make sure that it's not a long list. Make sure it's a short list, or at least start with the short list. So, for example, when you go to a particular practice, let's say that passing is important to you. Then in that particular practice, you are just going to concentrate on emphasizing passing. Good pass, Maria. Good pass, Hajar. Good pass, Fatima. Good pass, Grace. You are repeating the word pass, pass, pass. Good. And that becomes something that the players understand that it is important to you. Now, we also have, many of us coaches have been in situations where we have large numbers of players. And sometimes we may concentrate only with particular players that might need more help than others. That is a challenge at times. And I don't think it is right to spend too much time with one particular player on one small group of numbers while neglecting the others. That means you are not being inclusive, you're being exclusive. But one particular advice that I might give you might be the way you place yourself on the court. So you place yourself where you can watch the majority, if not all, the players. So you are still talking to these players, you are showing them how to pass the ball, or you're talking to them about dribbling the ball while you are watching. So you're saying, okay, good job, Fatima. And then you see from far that Nadia is not passing the ball. And then you might mention to Nadia, hey, Nadia, that was a good pass, or, follow through, etc. You may use a Q word, something that we'll be discussing in tomorrow's conference. You might mention that to Nadia from afar. So that's one way to help you manage a large number, or not concentrate only with some particular players. And of course, sometimes you just got to keep track of time, of how much time you are spending. If you're spending too much time with one particular player or some group of players, that means whatever you're teaching is not right, and you have to find a different way to do it. I hope I answered your question, Hajar. I have a question by Nima Molel. How can you develop a player who you see the potential in them and they don't like to work hard to achieve it? That's a very good question, Nima. It goes back to being inclusive and not exclusive. So you know that a player is very good, but your job as a coach of a team is not only one player. Your goal is to coach all the players. Now, you can always keep talking to this particular player and showing them the best way to become a better player. But at some point, they're going to have to want it more in order to achieve whatever they want to get to. It all depends, again, on the age of the particular player. There's some young players who might not know how good they are, or might not really care about basketball because they're there for a different reason. But then if your philosophy, if you're part of your philosophy, you really give a lot of value or a lot of importance to effort, and that player, that Nadia does not put in the right effort, then a conversation needs to happen where you tell Nadia, I'm sorry, Nadia, I am not happy with your effort. Therefore, we need to find a different solution. So again, we go back to your philosophy where you might think, or you might say that putting in the effort is important to me. And Nadia, you're not putting in the effort. But she may come and say, but I'm better than everyone else. And that's, as a coach, you say, but that's important. That's not important to me. What's important to me is your effort. So by having an honest conversation with players, sometimes we may get them to do the right thing. But certainly, Nadia cannot continue doing whatever she wants in an environment where you insist on putting the effort. Depending again on her age, you may involve the parents, you may involve friends, and sometimes some players just don't want to play basketball. Even though they might be that good, they might say, no, I want to be a singer or something else, and that's fine. I hope I answered your question, Nima. I am going to ask Yumbu Gazi. Hello.
Hi, coach.
How are you?
Yes, I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thanks for the presentation.
My pleasure.
It is really helpful. And my question is, do we have only 5 coaching styles? And
no. Go on. Sorry, finish your question.
Okay.
Finish your question, please. I'm sorry.
So is it possible to alternate the coaching style that you may use? Like one day may be authoritarian, another day be cool, depending on the mood of players or the playing phase you are in. Yeah, that was my question.
Yes, that if you are able to do that, then I think kudos. That's fantastic. That's so great. The coaching style is not an easy thing to change, but if you are someone that can change that, that means you adapt to particular situation, and that's great for you, Muyumbukazi. It is encouraged to adapt your coaching style. It is encouraged, but many times our coaching style depends on our own personality. So if I am able to change my personality depending on the situation, then that really is very, very good of me to do. And to answer your first question, we may have different other coaching styles. These 5 ones that I mentioned that we talked about are more or less the major ones, but we have other combinations of these styles and so forth. So if you are able to adapt to particular situations, Muyumkazi, then good for you. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thanks.
My pleasure. Raymond Ngenzi, is this a male coach or female? Hello? Okay, Raymond is not answering. I'm going to ask Laureen. Laureen, go ahead.
Hello, Sam. I wanted to ask, is it
Laureen, I'm sorry, Laureen.
To look for the height of the players. Maybe the players, they're often not of the same height.
Yeah, I am so sorry, Laureen. I'm going to ask you to write your question. We could not hear it properly, please. And while you are writing your question, I will ask Lisungu to unmute her microphone. Hi, Lisungu.
Coach.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Very well, thanks.
I'm Lisungu from Malawi.
Nice to meet you, Lisungu.
Pleasure. I came in a bit late, but I think I heard most of the part in terms of the coaching styles. And I just wanted to find out from research and from your past experiences, which of those coaching styles, or would I say, which coaches make the best coaches with the different coaching styles?
The best coaches are the ones who know exactly what their personality is and what is the best style for them. Because your coaching style usually depends on your personality. Let's say you are an easygoing coach. If you are able to get your players to achieve the goals that you have set, being an easygoing coach, then good for you. Then you're an excellent coach. Or if you decide to choose the cool coach approach, and still achieve your goals, then it's fantastic. So the best coaching style, is the one that matches your personality, and not someone else, but your personality. You adapt it to yourself.
Okay,
I'm sorry?
Yeah, so I'm trying to say there's not been any research that would give maybe guidelines to say as a coach, this is, the most effective type of style, and depending on the levels of your athletes.
Yeah, no, there has been research, and research says that your style is conditioned by your personality. And research also says there is no style that is better than another.
Okay.
The best style is the one that is adapted by your personality, and it's basically shaped by your experience and by the way you think, etc.
Okay, so which means you evolve as you go along.
Exactly, as well. You're right. You also evolve as you go along, and sometimes you may, with experience, you may realize that this particular approach is better than another one. I don't know if you have children, Lizungu.
Yes, I'm asking because I coach kids from actually from 3 to 12, and
do you have children of your own, Lizungu?
Yes, and she's 11.
How old are they?
She's 11.
Okay, you only have one child, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if you had another child, or maybe if you are planning to have another child, then you realize that sometimes your style with a particular, with your 11-year-old, might need to be different than the other. You adapt according to the person.
Okay. Thank you, Coach.
My pleasure. Thank you. Okay, I believe Laureen has written her question. The question is, I wanted to ask, is it important to consider height when choosing players as a coach? If that is what's important to you, Laureen, if height is important to you, then that's good, but it's up to you. Generally, it all depends where, if you're practicing with 12-year-olds, you may say it might be the team rule or the club rule that we cannot accept anyone who is shorter than 1.60 meters, for example. And that's something that can be a condition about. But normally, we would like to discourage that, especially with the young groups. Why? Because we may have a 10-year-old who is 1.20 meters, who might be short, but then when they are 16, they might be a lot taller. So deciding players based on their height is not highly encouraged in the younger categories. Of course, if as you're moving to older categories, that might become a little bit of an aspect to consider. So again, it depends on the environment that you're in. And after all, at the end of the day, basketball, in basketball, taller players, they have more of an advantage than shorter ones in normal circumstances. There's a question. How about reproach, reprimand anytime is a style of coaching? Depending on personality of the coach is a good thing. Yes, absolutely. Depending on the personality of the coach. Reprimanding reprimanding players is highly discouraged in the younger categories. Telling them and providing them with constructive criticism is the right way. But of course, as players, they belong to a team and they need to understand the importance of following rules, of following a set of guidelines, and basically the commitment. And this is all established by the coach. And it's important that the coach enforces these rules and these expectations in a way that is comfortable for the players. As a coach, especially with the younger categories, you are inclusive. You want to bring as many players as possible. As they become older, as you move to older categories, it becomes a little more exclusive. That means only the top players you choose at the age of 17, 18, etc. By that time, the players have decided that they want to continue to play basketball. So when it comes to reprimanding, when it comes to basically setting consequences, they need to be adapted to your age category. And of course, they need to be fair. And as a coach, don't forget that it's important to you to be inclusive. Thank you for that, Coach, Dr. Bilek. I have a question from Saba Larif. If I change my style every time, I feel that it's not working for me and for my players. Is that not good for my players, or should I continue? Saba, very simple answer. Don't change your style just to change your style. Don't change it. Keep your style. Don't change it unless it does not work. Keep your style according to yourself, to your personality. Establish that style. Understand what's important to you. What is important to you in your philosophy? Don't change it unless it does not work. If it does not work, then see how to go about it. How do you really need to change it? Can you change it? You know, you can't say just tomorrow wake up and say, I'm going to be an authoritarian coach if you are an easy, cool type of coach. That's going to be troubling to players. Players are not going to understand, who is this coach? What happened to her? She was the cool girl before, etc. And all of a sudden she's authoritarian. So changing styles needs to happen when your personality allows it, and it also needs to happen when the previous style just does not work. I am going to ask, it says that Raymond, we're a group of girls from school and would like to have a question. Yes, we'll send, yes, go ahead, Raymond Gezi.
Yeah. Hi, Coach.
Hi.
We are from the School of Orchestra with a group of coaching basketball for young girls from primary school. So my question is, how can you make your players to not have the mindset of just being coaching with you and not somebody else?
What's your name, please?
Namnyak Korduni from Orchestra Secondary School. Namnyak.
And where are you? Where are you now? What country are you in, Namnyak?
Tanzania.
Namnyak, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Okay, can you repeat your question again, please?
My question is, how can you help the players or your students or your people, the people that you are coaching, how can you help them to not have the mindset that they only want you to be the coach of them forever and not for other persons or someone else?
Yeah, Well, I think Namyak, I'm going to mute you just now. Yeah, thank you. Namyak, I think what's important for all of us coaches is to understand that sooner or later, those players are going to go and be with another coach. And that is our goal. As coaches, we want these players to continue playing basketball. And if they are going to continue playing basketball, they are going to be leaving you because you're not going to be with them the whole time. So it's important to teach them how to be resilient in different environments. It's important how to teach them the non-basketball skills that we talked about. As you teach them those things, they start understanding that it is okay to be with a different coach. Sometimes they may not like you and they may prefer a different coach. And that's fine. It's normal. It's part of our job. But sometimes, and I hope that most of the time, they will like you. And this happens a lot with young players because they feel attached with their coach. And they love their coach so much that they say, oh no, I only want to play basketball if with you as a coach. So your job, as you're teaching them resilience, as you're teaching them how to deal with adversity, it's important for you to show them that basketball is important to them. And then they might need to go and adapt themselves to another coach's demands. So by giving them comfort and giving them an understanding that it is okay to be with a different coach, you will help them understand and continue to play basketball. I hope I answered you, Namyak. You still have another question? Okay. Alan, go ahead. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
My question is, oh, my name is Husna and I'm from the same school. And my question is, how can you help the coach who face difficulties to make decisions at the right time?
Very good. Okay, Husna. I'll mute you just now. Perfect. So a coach who makes decisions or does not make decisions at the right time is a coach that needs to improve. And how do you improve? By taking initiative. As coaches, we make mistakes all the time. We always make mistakes. I'm the number one person that makes mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes as a coach. Because why do we make a lot of mistakes? Because we make a lot of decisions all the time. So as coaches, we need to be brave. We need to be risk takers and brave enough to take some decisions and understand that maybe some decisions might not be the right ones. And understand that some decisions might be wrong. As young coaches, we make a lot of wrong decisions. As we become older, we usually make wiser decisions, and that is because of our experience. So my recommendation is keep making decisions and avoid making the same mistakes again and again. And that will help you make better decisions in the future. Okay, I think we are getting to the 2-hour mark. I don't know if there are any more questions. And if they are not, all I can say is I hope I can see most of you tomorrow. We are talking about a fantastic topic tomorrow. Oh, sorry, we have one more question from the school. Go ahead, we'll take the last one, please.
Hi, Coach.
Hi.
My name is Lema Jonas Liza from the same group. And my question is, how should, like, what are the effects of being an extrinsic coach? The coach that is just influenced to be coaching those players and not the coach that feels deeply into your heart that you want to coach. And like that type of a coach, when will you feel like, is there any moment that you will feel you will coach through your personalities, or you'll just be that way from the when you started to the end? Thank you.
Yeah. What's your name again, please? I apologize. I apologize. I could not get your name, but I'll answer your question. Like many aspects in life, when you are yourself, you are more probably going to be successful. You have more possibilities to be successful. Because even though you're not successful, you will be making mistakes that are your own mistakes. So when you are developing your own personality in making decisions about your style, when you're using your own personality, you're most probably going to be successful. And if not, at least you make mistakes, your own mistakes, and you're going to learn from that. The problem with imitating or trying to be someone else or trying to use someone else's style is that you may not have the same personality as that particular person. So I might see a coach and she is very successful as an authoritarian coach. But do you know why she's successful? Because she knows those players from when they were really young. And they know that she is strict with them, but she still loves them. But if I take that approach and I have not had a chance, and I'm a new coach, and I have not had a chance to know these players, that means I did not have time to communicate with them. Therefore, I might not be as successful. So again, the intrinsic part, which is basically you are discovering also, you're in the process of discovering your personality, is the right way and is the right style for you. Thank you very much for your question. I'll answer one last question if you don't mind, from Latifa El Khal. The question is, what are the mistakes that coach could avoid or should avoid? Well, when you establish your philosophy, you establish in certain aspects of or certain important things that are important, certain things that are important to you. So for starters, you want to start there. You can't say that my philosophy, I want to give importance to being on time, and you are late many times. As a coach, then you're not going to be successful. So this is a mistake that you absolutely should avoid. As a coach, you have the responsibility to be fair across the board to most of your players, to all your players, I mean, all the time. And being fair or being unfair is a mistake that you should avoid. But many times we are confronted with situations where we don't know what the right decision is. And we tend to make a mistake. I think we should be encouraged to make that decision. But if we realize that it has been a mistake, then we should avoid it. We cannot commit the same mistake again and again. That means that we're not learning from our mistakes. But to me, when we are dealing with children, as far as we're trying, as we have the well-being of the child, of the player in our hearts, we usually are doing really well and are avoiding these mistakes. So, as I said, we coming to an end of this conference. It was so lovely to share knowledge with you and to debate with you and to talk to you. I am so proud to be part of this African community and be part of this group. And I really am looking forward to seeing our women coaches take the leadership. I want to see many of you women right here giving us talks and sharing your experiences, because I have been to many countries in Africa and I know how good African coaches are, and I know how, especially how women coaches, how great they are, and they can be. So all I can say is courage. I encourage you all to keep going, and I look forward to seeing you, and I hope I can see you tomorrow. And all the best. Thank you so much for being here with us, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you.